Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Card Advantage, a weekly podcast where Twisted and I will be bringing on guests every week to talk about the game, any changes that went on recently, any tournaments that went on, and just like talk about everything about Hearthstone. So we have two special guests today, and why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Hosty.
Kisstafer first.
Hey everyone, I'm Kisstafer from Team Don't Kick My Robot. I've come on the show to bless everyone with my expertise.
I'm Hosty, guys. I'm replacing Mr. Kibler, Brian Kibler from Kibler Gaming, just because he couldn't make it today. So yeah, what's up?
The better replacement, anyways.
Brian
Thanks,
Kibler.
Brian Kibler.
From the Kibler Foundation.
Twisted, do you want to talk about yourself? Or
Hi, I'm Twisted. You guys will be seeing me more next week on the New York qualifiers. So check that out for sure.
Hi.
And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the show.
Alright. So the very first thing I want to talk about was the recent balance changes. About a week ago, Blizzard implemented the patch where they increased Buzzard to 5 mana, made it a 3/2, and they also nerfed Leroy to a 5 mana cost card. So I just want to know your guys' thoughts, like before the patch went live, like what you were thinking heading into it.
Okay, I'll touch base on that first. So we'll talk about Leroy. Like, that's a change everyone talked about for like forever. Everyone thought he should be like 5 mana. That was the most like popular consensus in the pro community. And that didn't happen for months after. So I think we all expected it, but we like forgot about it because it took so long for them to do, right? Yeah, but so now they did it. I was pretty sure before the change that it was gonna like completely destroy Miracle Rogue and we would stop seeing Miracle Rogue. Although now like interesting adaptations have come, like a little bit of Malygos Rogue has come back, a lot more like Miracle with like tempo cards like 2 Violet Teachers, Belchers, stuff like that. Besides that, like Handlock doesn't have the range it usually has. Like not a lot of people are running Arcane Golem, although I'm sure that's gonna start to happen soon. Now, what other decks was Leroy really putting in?
Hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hunter?
Yeah.
But that doesn't change really, does it? Like, a lot of Hunters stopped running Leroy,
Yeah.
but why? Like,
No, I don't
guess
think
just
they
the
have
Unleashed
actually.
combo.
Oh,
Really? You see a lot of
They
Hunters?
still use it. At least the Phase Hunters will still be using it. It's just not as good.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I figured. Like,
like
it's
some people-
almost...
You can
Go ahead, Spur.
You can. Like I think some people have been running like Arcane instead of Leroy.
Mhm.
Because it's like, if you hero power 2, then it's the same mana cost. And you
A lot
instead
of-
of getting with 2/1/1s, you get give a mana crystal. And it's
A
cheap.
lot of face hunters, like in the past, ran like Wolf Riders, Arcane Golems, and Leroy, right? So I'm pretty sure that version is still like viable. So that's not going to change.
The funny thing is, I think that Handlock was actually hurt the most by the Leroy change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like-
definitely.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I used to use that combo back before anyone was using it. Now I'm just gonna have to keep the coin to that combo, but no, but seriously, like no, you can't do that combo anymore in Handlock.
you
Like,
use Arcane Golem, right?
Like in Rogue, I've just been using, like, instead of Shadow Step, I just subbed them out for Cold Blood.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can still burst just as good.
Do you still use Leroy?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I actually lost to like a Handlock playing Leroy. You just like went Leroy, Powerful Woman, hit me for 10. It's still like a
There we
pretty
go.
good.
Still does 10.
It's
Still
like the
fine.
same deck. I just put in Valid Teachers and Cold Blood over, like, Shadow Step.
Like you still have
And you're-
great synergy with Powerful Woman. I mean, not sorry, I mean with Shadow Flame and Leroy. Still more clear.
Like, do you guys want to talk about Rogue more? Because, like, I think Rogue is actually better now.
Really?
compared to before. Because everyone's playing decks that die to it. Like
That is true. Like with Priest, like Priest became
like
super popular. Right?
yeah, it's like a knee-jerk reaction after the patch. Everyone's been playing like Paladin control, Warrior control, Priest control. All these decks just get flattened by Miracle Rogue because the actual broken thing about Rogue is like gadgets and combos where they go off with like conceal or prep sap, and then all of a sudden they have total board dominance. So I think the Leroy combo is actually like the least broken part of that deck, and you can just put Cold Blood in and you still have like a reasonable amount of burst damage.
That is true.
Yeah, the deck's more of like a combo board control deck more than like just like try to like burst them down. Like I've seen many lists with like Violet Teachers and more lists with like Gnomish Inventors, Azure Drakes. Like it's still Auctioneer is still a broken card. Like if you get Auctioneer Prep Sap or something like that, you're still gonna win the game. It's so hard to come back from that.
There's so many games where you win without the Leroy combo anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Just like especially when you put Cold Blood in the deck. Like, you can just get such early wins just by, like, somehow maybe a minion will survive for a turn. It just, pushing that damage in and, like, all the card advantage you get from the gadgets in, it's still really strong.
Yeah, like, I remember, like, I know you were a big fan of Violet Teachers, and I was too, in Miracle Rogue, like, even before the nerf. But, like, now it kind of forces you to remove Shadow Step. Not really, like, you can run Shadow Steps with Arcane Golem. I still think that's viable as well. You just run like double Cold Blood, Arcane Golem, Shadow Steps. But that deck's obviously less consistent. Just more aggressive version.
That's the thing I don't like about that is that you're using Cold Blood and Arcane and not using Cold Blood and Shadow Step. It puts a lot of it puts too many inconsistent cards, I think, in the deck.
Yeah, it's definitely less consistent. Definitely. But how about Starving Buzzard? We should probably talk about that card.
So,
Yeah,
I don't use that card anymore.
The card's
I don't think there's anything to say. Yeah, there's nothing to say about it. It's just like, it's a bad card, never use it.
No, actually, there's one thing to say about it. Sometimes you get it off Web Spinner.
I guess the only real thing to talk about that change is, like, it kind of speaks about Blizzard's balancing philosophy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about that at all.
Yeah, we can do it.
Well,
we can touch
any card that lets you draw like your whole deck is obviously not good for the game. They should have just yeah, they should have took the buzzer and just made it a completely different card that's like helps Hunter in a different way instead of trying to like keep the same effect.
Well, the good thing.
No, go on.
The good thing about it though is that like they recognize that cards that let you like. I don't know how to phrase this, like, when there's cards in the game that let you have, like, an infinitely large hand size, like, you'll never run out of cards, stuff like Buzzard, stuff like Gadgetzin, them realizing that that's a problem and nerfing it is good. But, like, the only thing that's, I guess, to talk about is that they just decided to destroy the card instead of actually attempting to balance it. Maybe they just made a realization that there's no way to balance a card like that. They'd have to change it completely. And they don't want to have it around for Worlds, so they just decided to remove it.
So you think it's for sure the card's like garbage?
Yeah.
Everyone here thinks that?
Yeah.
It's just
I have
too much
seen some lists running around with like one Buzzard. Some people are still trying to make that work.
People are going to try anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth trying to force working because the power, like the mechanic is so powerful. But at 5 mana, I think it's just too much. It's just too much of an investment for the return you get.
How about what do you feel about Unleash in Hunter decks now? That it doesn't have the draw ability.
Well, I saw. I forget who played it. I think it was Mr. Yagut from the EU regionals. He was playing Cult Master with Unleash the Hounds. As like a 4 mana pseudo buzzard, except it draws half.
It's a 4 mana buzzard, not bad, right?
Yeah, it's like it's better than the buzzard in its current format, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Like I don't know if that's good, like if that idea was good or not, but it was like interesting because like if you want to still do the Unleash card draw, like combos, I think the Cult Master is actually,
might be the way to go.
yeah, I think
But,
he's
like,
actually better than the Buzzard right now.
I forgot who played it, but remember seeing like Cult Master and Force of Nature? I remember seeing that, and I was like, "That's not bad. That's pretty good." But like, it's just not. It's not great.
It ain't
So I
better than
don't know.
Savage Roar.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I think it depends what deck you're using also, because there's like Token Druids who use like Echoing Ooze and Haunted Creepers, and like Cult Master is a pretty situational card and not that reliable. But
Yeah.
if there's a deck that makes it reliable, it's one that runs those cards.
Interesting.
I don't know. I can't see myself ever running a Cult Master. Like 7 mana Unleash, it's like it's just too much. Like on 7 mana, you're gonna what, draw like 2 or 3 cards. Like what deck are you possibly using this combo to try to beat?
Yeah,
Like-
and against things like Zoo, it was already like struggling. Like 5 mana Buzzard Unleash was already pretty slow, right?
Yeah, like sometimes you just die, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's still pretty damn good though.
it's like the
back.
only way to win the matchup. But if you have Buzzard Unleash on turn 7 compared to turn 5, it's like a world of difference.
Yeah, it is. Guess if you put like if you run double explosives, it's stall enough. Because double
I think-
explosive would make you favored against Zoo, right? At least that's what I would feel.
I think the best direction to take Hunter in is probably just like forgetting about the card draw, just going straight up aggro to the face, and trying to like make a deck that maximizes the hero power and kind of subs it in. Like so you don't have to play cards to use all your mana. You just use the hero power every turn, maybe.
Mhm.
Like the old Face Hunter deck.
Mhm. With the Wolf Riders at King Golem.
Yeah.
Well, like a deck that Nerio is running at the qualifiers.
What was that?
Naria, I think you pronounce it. He was running like a Face Hunter deck at the EU qualifiers. Not sure if you guys watched any of his matches or not.
I didn't catch that game.
I need to.
Am I lagging or?
Actually, I did see that deck. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, he was playing Hunter. I don't know. I think it's not bad. Like, it's definitely like people aren't building for aggro Hunter really, so it's like not a bad idea to try to catch people off guard by taking like the aggro Hunter,
Mhm.
since so many people are writing it off as being like non-existent.
The thing is
I don't
this
know.
Belcher's
I think it's
just
back now. A
Belcher's
lot
is
of
such
people
a
are
strong
running.
card.
Yeah, it is. But a lot of people are running Hunter again. Like, it died for like 2 or 3 days. Everyone was like, okay, Hunter's dead. And then I don't know who popularized it, but someone definitely did. Streamed with it, I suppose.
I think Show. Maybe it was
So might have. I know a lot of people have been running Ears list after he hit rank 1 with it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people started running that, and they're like, okay, Hunter's not dead.
Do you
It's
think
really not,
that?
right?
Do you think it's not dead because the deck is actually good, or do you think it's more of the result of the super greedy decks that almost ignore aggro that people are using?
I think it's not dead due to Undertaker. Just like the pre-snowball deck, Death Rattle deck, Undertaker, like, you just win games off the back of that card. And the Hunter hero power helps a lot, because if you snowball early with the Hunter deck, with Undertaker, you just do enough damage to whereas, like, you could just hero power them down pretty much at the end, and top deck kill command and hold them down.
Yeah. Like the thing about like
Personally.
Unleash Buzzard is that there aren't that many decks right now. It's like more control oriented meta. So like it isn't even really that good anymore. So like people have been playing a lot of aggro face hunter instead. It's actually it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
to
have a
be
couple
honest,
loot hoarders, and you seem to drop very, very consistent with Hunter decks.
Yeah, like when I was watching Niria play, I think he actually would have beat the number guy. He would have used his hero power instead of setting the explosive on turn 2. Because he was off by 1 damage at the end of the game.
Hmm. I didn't watch that game.
Okay.
I don't remember that. I don't remember. So we're all casuals here, except for Twisted.
Who was it against?
It was against his teammate. It was Niria versus number guy.
Didn't watch it. I'm sure I watched it, but I definitely don't remember it.
Okay. Well, I just have a
It's
thing
that
of
one
like,
hero power, huh?
I just have a thing of noticing misplays. It just bugs me to watch someone misplay in such a high level tournament like that.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
there's also a lot of pressure going on too. So like sometimes you like end up overthinking it, and that's like where bad things happen.
Like, I'm sure they were
So-
super nervous. Like, a lot of
So,
them,
like-
that was their first tournament ever, right?
Yeah, like live, probably.
Like, yeah, live tournament.
So, like, what's the consensus between us for, like, do we think that Hunter is good because it's still just a really strong deck, or is it good because people are playing decks that are weak to it at the moment?
I think it's good because of Undertaker. Like, just the early death rattle minions make it really, really good. And then I think it's a decent deck. But yeah, it's good in this meta and in the previous meta. Like, mostly this meta because of the greedy control decks. Yeah, it just punishes them.
What do you two
Yeah.
think?
I think Undertaker is definitely like the route to go if you're playing Hunter. I mean, it just snowballs, and if you could snowball the early game, you can just kind of like burst them out late game. If any of you guys have been playing ladder lately, there's like quite a few Hunters on the ladder.
Yeah. So, I think Hunter's still gonna be good because like the new next cards, especially Undertaker and like Mad Scientist, like if you get a trap off Mad Scientist and then you get a free charge off it off your bow, then you just do so much damage with the bow. So like the point where you can basically win any matchup. Like even like a little bit tougher matchups like Control Warrior, if you have like high mains, then you can make the games a little bit easier for you.
It's funny how Hunter runs Belcher as well. Like most Hunter lists.
Yeah.
Like, Belcher's just in everything. That
So
card
good.
is so good. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like, everyone ran Twilight Drake for a long time, right? I mean, Azure Drake. And what happened? Everyone started running Argent Commander to counter it.
Yeah.
Now, what are you supposed to do against Belcher? Like, it's just
Black Knight.
the Black Knight, right? But that's
Yeah,
legendary.
it's in like every it's
a
in like
one-of.
every deck.
Yeah, now Black Knight is in everything, but that's a one-of. Like,
Yeah.
you just have no direct answer to a Belcher. You just run your own Belcher.
No, there's a few.
Well-
Like Lothab is a good out also. Like I know it's a legendary.
Yeah.
So
Any
maybe, like,
any decks that can get away with playing a 5/5 are like it's like probably the best answer against Sludge. Like a
Yeah.
Sylvanas or a Lothab. Or even a Stranglethorn Tiger, but
Yeah, that's what I
not
was
many
about to
decks.
ask. Do you think that's going to come back?
I don't know. I think like I used to play Tiger and Hunter, but like I think that type of Hunter isn't fast enough right now. I also
Yeah.
used to use it in Druid, but there's just so many 5-drops now that are good in Druid. I don't think Stranglethorn has a place in it.
Well,
And I
yes,
can't really picture any other
Spectral.
decks.
Well, like Shadow Menace is also really good against Select Belcher because you basically
Yeah.
steal it and you silence it and you get your own one too, assuming you
Yeah.
can suicide it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no, like, neutral card that just deals with Belcher, like, really well.
Yeah, there isn't one. That's why it's so strong on 5. Like the
Yeah.
only card you can have is Black Knight, and even then, like you'd rather Black Knight something else usually, unless Sludge Belchers are only taunt.
Mhm.
To be honest, I think Sludge Belcher it doesn't put that much pressure. It's only 3 attack on turn 5, which is like essentially like a 2-drop, right? Like 2-drops usually have like 3 attack. So instead of like trying to deal with the Belcher, you're better off just trying to like stick to your game plan and just get on board and just kind of ignore it or like just plow through it.
Yeah. Like sometimes if they play a minion, like your best play is to take it out. But like if they play a Sludge Belcher, usually your best play is just to play like a 6-drop, is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, or
Like,
just
just-
play like Or just play 2 minions and just don't attack and just like set up for next turn.
Yeah, and then worry about it and like try to clean up the board later once you're in a better position to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just because it takes up so much resources to get rid of. Like you have to swing at it like at least once to kill the 3/5, and sometimes twice if you have smaller minions, and then another time to kill the 1/2. So like getting more guys on the board is a lot. It's like gonna help you get rid of it in the long run rather than trying to take it out the turn that it's played.
The main problem with Belcher is when